first thing you want to do before working on any electrically driven air compressor is to make sure the compressor itself is turned off, the power to the compressor is turned off, and if possible, that the air compressor is unplugged from the power service. Once you feel you're sure that you've turned off the power to the compressor and disconnected any additional power sources that might operate the air compressor, you want to use your multimeter or an amp probe to check to make sure that you are sure that there is no power being delivered to the air compressor. Use your multimeter to make sure that you don't have any operational power going to the compressor systems. Once you have verified this, you can move on to the next step of draining the tank or system pressure to make sure that the compressor is safe to operate. Once you verify that the air compressor is turned off and all electrical power has been disconnected from the air compressor, you want to make sure that you drain the system pressure from the tank of the compressor where you're working with. Make sure that this pressure has been drained down to zero. You can check by checking your tank pressure gauge to make sure that it reads zero. You can also check by pulling the tank safety valve to also make sure that there is no pressure left in the tank. The tank safety valve is typically located somewhere near the gauge. Once you've checked all these things, your compressor is now safe to work on. In this video, we're going to show you how to properly replace one of our LF08 series pressure switches. First, we're going to access the compressor panel. It is always very important to make sure that you take a picture with your cell phone or a camera of the panel as it is before you start working on it to make sure that you replace all the wires in the correct position. Next, we're going to remove the wires from the LF08 series pressure switch, bend them out of the way, making sure to note which wire goes where. Next, we're going to remove the control air line from the LF08 pressure switch. Once that line has safely been removed, we can then begin the process of removing the LF08 series pressure switch. Once the pressure switch has been removed, it can be thrown away to be replaced. Take your new pressure switch and add a very small amount of thread sealant or Teflon tape to the threads of the pressure switch. Replace the spacing washers, and the pressure switch can then be replaced back into the housing. You can then replace the control air line, making sure it is firmly fitted. And make sure to reinstall the power wires on the LF08 series pressure switch. You have now replaced an LF08 series pressure switch.